Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today, Ted, we have an incredible conversation with a company called Tractable. And Ted, Tractable has really been innovating a lot in the industry.
There's a lot happening in fixed ops in our dealerships, a lot happening with technology, a lot happening in the way we inspect vehicles. A great honor to welcome James Spears and Jamie Anderson with Tractable. You may not have heard about them yet. You are going to hear a lot about them. James and Jamie, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
By the way, before we get started, uh, end of the month is just a couple days away, and then the world will converge on Las Vegas next week. Will you gentlemen be at the NADA show in Las Vegas?
We will.
Absolutely.
All right. So, to our audience, if you're making your plans, be sure to include Tractable NADA booth number 7246N. That's in the North Hall. You'll see Sarah Vantine and I out there interviewing these gentlemen. You want to see them. This is an important one. If there's a must list, this is on the short list. Okay, Tractable. Got to see them. Sarah, let's get our show started.
All right. Well, to kick things off, James, I want to come to you first. For our audience and our dealers that aren't familiar, what is Tractable and what problem are you solving for the automotive industry?
Tractable, we're 12 years old this year. So we've been around and we solve just real enterprise world problems, particularly using automotive artificial intelligence, machine learning, and computer vision. And what we do is we turn that into real world solutions. So you can think about we service the collision industry. That's really where we started working with the insurance companies. And we service the dealers, and we service the dealers in a number of ways of spotting damage, but we go one step beyond just spotting damage. We can also write a real world repairable estimate, which brings in revenue as well. So, Tractable, 12 years old. We've been doing this, and now we're proud to say that we are launching our Luma scanner, and you'll see it in NADA.
James, you mentioned 12 years. Are there other markets you serve? And if so, what are those markets?
Yeah, it's really exciting. Our headquarters is out of London, and we service the Japanese market. We have 14 countries, so you can think about all through Europe, also Thailand, France, Poland, the UK, Spain, Canada, United States. We're in we're a global company.
That's incredible, James. And Jamie, just, we're having a lot of conversations at the Fixed Ops Roundtable with dealerships. And the feedback that Ted and I have been getting is that, fixed ops margins are under pressure. And from your perspective, what's changing in how dealerships need to think about inspections and vehicle condition?
Yeah, that's a great point. Excuse me. I think the margins are definitely under pressure, and you're starting to see dealerships starting to rethink inspections as a profit protection and customer trust tool, not just a process step. So I think what's changing is the expectations of consistency, speed, transparency. It creates variability, missed opportunities, and the friction with customers. It removes that. So I think the dealerships need inspections that are fast, standardized, and defensible. Especially as labor costs rise and cycle times matter more than ever.
I'm taking a look. We've been showing our audience some of the images, Jamie, of the Tractable unit.
Mhm.
Very good looking. Give us a little more color on this, if you don't mind. Um, First of all, how simple is it to do business with you? I think that's important to our retailers. And then, what does a typical installation involve?
Sure. So we've intentionally designed Tractable to be very simple to do business with. From contracting through go live,
Okay.
the focus is on minimizing disruption for the dealership operations. Most customers are up and running quickly within the same business day without the need for
Wow.
complex IT projects, long implementation timelines, pulling permits, anything like that. We don't have to do that with our system. Typical installation, it's very straightforward. It involves setting up the Luma scanner, the hardware, confirming site layout, vehicle flow, completing a short calibration, and training sessions with the team. There's no heavy infrastructure required. An installation can be usually completed in that same business day.
And Jamie, as a follow-up, if I may, this is
Yeah,
long overdue, right? The industry is ready for
100%.
this, and we're liking these inspections early in the process. And you know what, Jamie, the customers are digging it too.
Absolutely.
And
100%.
one of our things with our installations is that we're highly customizable.
Okay.
And a lot of our competitors aren't. They have one model that's a little bit larger and more bulky, not as streamlined. But if you have a certain color, like we're in a Toyota dealership in Seattle right now, and they wanted that old school Toyota red, and we certainly made it that color. It blends right in. It's really a legacy color with the company. We have another one, a little bit more of a modern one, and they're all aluminum, and we have an aluminum chassis sitting there. It looks very non-obtrusive. Their customers drive through it, and they're not even scared because some of them are driving through big X-ray machines, and
Wow.
they're sort of intimidated. So you think about that speed and accuracy that we can deliver with the package of the IT portion of it. But at the end of the day, we deliver a very beautiful customized chassis as well.
And James, if I could follow up, Sarah and I have had a lot of conversations on this roundtable about facilities and design of facilities. And, a lot of dealers are very particular as to what they're going to have or what they want to have in their beautiful new facility. So the fact that this is customizable, James, that's huge, and that you're doing those things as well.
Yeah, we can certainly see some that would want some probably matte black, those type of things. But we have professional powder coating services that we can deliver that to you that way.
That's incredible, James. And Jamie, and just thinking about our dealers that are listening today, and also all the other companies and all these markets throughout the world, what interesting things have you and your partners learned? And like how many cars are coming through the service lane arriving with detectable damage?
Yeah, you know what? I think that's a great point. One of the most interesting things that we're finding is how common undetected vehicle damage is in the service lane. You're seeing a large quantity of vehicles come through the service lane that have either minor damage or multiple damage, and then collision work that needs to be done, and nobody's really having those discussions with them. So, across the locations that we've been piloting so far, a meaningful percentage of vehicles arrive with visible detectable damage that was either previously unknown to the customer, and being able to kind of walk through that and undocumented and help them understand it. And then also, it's eye opening how inconsistent traditional inspection processes are. When the AI standardized the inspection, detection rates increase, the advisors' conversations become more confident, and customers respond a lot more positively, because they can actually see the condition of their vehicle, and they get some more, I guess, what would you call it, more expertise from the service lane and then the collision centers that support the dealerships.
And Jamie, this is available now. Like,
It
I
is
can get this in my dealership, and
right now.
okay, wow,
Yeah.
love it. Okay.
Yeah, and another interesting thing about cars coming through, and our dealers that have been using this have told us, is that a car comes through, they're no longer really disputing did that vehicle come in with that damage or did their technician or the process cause it, because now it's capturing it right at the standpoint. So if you don't capture every job, you think about what 33% come through with damage. If you're not turning that or converting that into something for your body shop, you now at least have peace of mind that you're capturing at the front end. And that really ends those disputes for your liability. I know a very big dealership out of Scottsdale, Arizona, and they allocate $1 million every single month across their 5 high-end dealerships
Wow.
that they have there for those customer type of damage claims. It's a line item that just eats at their fixed ops revenue.
It really does. Yeah, policy budgets, it can definitely help eliminate those or at least bring them down because every car is going to be time date stamped as they come through the system. And even in our pilot locations, we've had several instances where a customer is called the day after getting an oil change and saying, "Hey, this damage wasn't there." They're able to reflect back and see exactly time date stamped when they were here and if the damage was detected while they were there. And
And
I think to add on to
go ahead.
one other piece there too was, you know, I think for the dealerships and for the consumer standpoint, you know, it's turning these discussions into instead of selling, it's educating and it's helping the consumer understand a little bit more. It's going to improve the trust for the dealership, approval rates, and overall customer experience for the dealerships.
And Jamie, that's really what the customers want. You know, they like
100%.
they like the transparency. They like hearing later on from the technician, right, with the video, and they like the process. And it helps. Let's face it, we're building trust, right? And the whole, the fabric of life is trust. The fabric of business is trust. And this transparency is now, and it's expected.
And
James,
yeah,
you,
the thing about trust is it starts when you start to sell a car to someone, and it starts when you want to trade that car in. And
that's
our Luma scanner is good for that as well. Being able to run a car through, and you can do a recon conditioning aspect of it, of trade in damage appraisals. Not only does our solution come up and spot the damage, it does a little bit more. It tells you what it costs to fix it. It becomes less of a he said she said negotiating tool. It's just going to be a black and white document of what it's going to cost to restore the car to make it marketable again. So that really expedites those. And the speed of trust. That's been documented. And that's really where this our device and our software and our services come in. We really expedite that.
James, tell us more about this, the scanner that you mentioned. I believe it's called Luma Scanner. And can a dealership with no collision shop use that as well?
Yeah, in fact, it's you can think about a shop or let's say a dealership that doesn't have a shop. Now you scan them, and you sell those opportunities. You become you can spiff your network of collision shops that you use that you sublet damage out to. So now this turns into a revenue machine that actually pays for our machine for you. So you're getting all the benefits of it, and then you're also able to sell those jobs, refer those jobs to very trusted. Again, that circle of trust that you have. You sell those jobs to a trusted person that's going to restore that vehicle back. Especially think about a person, the first 3 years of ownership, they really have a lot of pride in ownership, and they may not know just how economical it is to fix. I retired from the insurance industry. I retired from USAA, where I headed their global auto physical damage team. And I certainly know how consumers may think that certain things cost a little bit more than they do. Well, this puts a bottom line estimate out there. Um, and it can show that it's probably going to be under your deductible. You can self contain, or if it's near your deductible, don't report it to the carrier. And now the dealership has found you a trusted partner to fix the car, and you're not messing with the insurance or maybe impacting your insurance rates. But it's good for shops or dealerships that own their own collision, and it's especially good for dealerships that don't own, but yet they're going to be able to refer out.
That's incredible, James. And Jamie, I'm thinking just the transparency that customers really expect today. And as we've been talking about, it's that trust factor that really just helps elevate the experience when you have this level of transparency. And Jamie, we know, there are other competitors in this space today that are providing that kind of transparency, but why use Tractable?
You know,
I think there's a lot of players in this space, but Tractable is uniquely positioned because of the depth and credibility of our AI. Like Jimmy was saying earlier, our AI is 12 years old. We're not new to the vehicle damage detection. We've trained our models on millions of real world repair and claim images, working with many of the largest insurers and repair networks globally. The experience shows up in accuracy, consistency, and trust. Uh, Tractable isn't just identifying damage, it understands the severity, repair relevance, how that information fits into the dealership workflows. And then combined with our purpose built hardware and minimal operation lift, dealers get a solution that works day one and scales across multiple locations. And I think one of the things that we really spent a lot of time with when creating LumaScanner was looking at it twofold, right? So one, you have the collision center, and then on the other side, you have the dealership. So really, right now, they're working independently, but now we're building that bridge because with the LumaScanner now, the dealership can, as we were speaking earlier, they can start utilizing it to protect themselves from budget from any claims that anybody has that comes in and says, hey, that damage occurred while I was getting an oil change. Well, now you have that documentation to kind of prevent that. Now use it in your sales process. Now you have a number tied to every damage on the vehicle. So what a seamless, easy way for the salespeople within the dealership to go ahead and say, you know what, we're going to offer you. They may use some type of pricing tool, like ICO, maybe, and they say, okay, it's $20,000 for your car. Now, instead of having an opinion by a salesperson, now they can drive through the scanner and come back and say, hey, there's $1,500 worth of damage on your vehicle. We're going to have to deduct that. So, thinking about that, I think that's the key differentiator is we're trying to balance it, right? So there's multiple use cases for both sides. And I think even like Jimmy was saying just a minute ago, you think about it from the dealership standpoint, you start outsourcing some of these claims or these repairs, all of a sudden now you start, one of the parts of the deal is, hey, Mr. Collision Center, you got to buy the parts from me. So now you start helping the dealership with their parts sales. So multifaceted and really beneficial to both parties.
Can I follow up, James, on
Sure.
on EVs? EVs have been a big part of the industry now the last couple of years, not going away clearly. What about the technology detecting the damage on EVs?
When we think about internal combustion engine car, and we start to lay our hands on it, and you just go across the grill and you start counting parts. You have the cover, you have some fascia parts of it, you have the grill, you have a number of bezels, you have a number of parts. You can get to a typical Camry, you're already at 10 parts for
Okay.
the front end before you start moving. Now, let's take your typical EV, Tesla. There's not 10 body parts on the entire car.
Mm.
If you think about it, so now you have Tesla front end, fender, hood, roof, door, deck lid, quarter, back, right? So you have what, 9 parts? That's the entire car. So I know we think about, the complexity of EVs. The complexity of EVs is under the surface.
Mm.
The outside of an EV is even more simple for AI to detect damage. And so EV makes it simpler, faster, quicker, those types. So it's a sort of an inverse when it comes to detecting damage on one.
It's incredible to hear these real world cases, James, that you've been able to build with Tractable. And I'm curious if, so we're coming into, a big time in Las Vegas with NADA, and Ted and I will be there as well with you. What's next for Tractable and their partners?
Jamie, you want to talk about maybe underbody scanning and some other things that we're going to be showing at NADA?
Absolutely. So we're going to be launching the undercarriage scanner with the Luma scanner
Wow.
at NADA. So again, the benefits for the dealership, we'll be able to identify irregular wear on the tires,
Wow.
any leaks, anything underneath the vehicle. We're not going to be able to say, hey, you need an alignment, but the irregular wear is going to say that you need alignment. So
Okay.
it's going to be another benefit to the dealership. And then, if looking at most of the dealerships, that's one of the things they're really focusing on is tires. and getting that repeat business and having the customers come back. And so that's one of the big pluses for us going into NADA is now we'll have the complete system where we'll have the 360 complete around, under, and outside of it.
All right. I mentioned earlier to our audience, if you're going to Las Vegas next week, and Sarah and I, you just heard, are going to be there as well. You want to put Tractable on your very short list, and you want to make it a point to come visit with them. And you're going to see a lot of this firsthand. Tractable, the new big name in automotive and AI retail, helping to further along transparency. If you're not going to NADA, you can see on the web down below the tractable.ai website, scrolling along, and I see a phone number, James. Where does that phone number go?
That one's going to be Jamie Anderson's phone number.
That goes directly to my cell phone.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll tell you one more thing
like
that we're going to talk about at NADA,
Okay.
and we just showed it last week. Last week we were at the MTE, which is the Mobile Technician Expo, and was held in Orlando.
Yes, I
And
saw
we
that.
had our Luma scanner there,
Oh.
and there we were really focused on paintless dent repair and hail. So those dealerships that are in those hail belts,
Yes.
our device works incredible with hail. So we have Texas and Oklahoma and Colorado, those states up through there, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. But we launched that device that we have for hail. Same device, but just a different application with some of the software. And so this is a great way to be able to set up one Luma scanner and have the thousands of cars that come through it very rapidly and assess that damage.
All right. I know a dealer that's going to be on our next guest with you. So I love that. That is, James, that is important information. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
That's really relevant to our audience because we hear about that quite a bit. And Tractable, everybody, you're going to want to know these folks, and James Spears and Jamie Anderson. Again, they'll be at NADA next week. But great job to both of you. Congratulations. James, an overnight success in just 12 years, and Tractable.ai, a growing part of the industry. And Jamie, congratulations to you. Jamie, you're going to be very busy. I have a feeling coming
Yes,
up.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
All right. Well, good
I'm
to see you.
very excited by it. Good to see you guys. Thanks for having us.
And James, nice to meet you. And Sarah and I would like to invite you back on our next roundtable coming up in a couple months and talk a little bit more about what's happening, what you're seeing in the industry. Fascinating stuff. So, Sarah, great time to be in our industry. Everybody, the team from Tractable here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.